Non-sentient life preaching Dharma. The following is an exchange between Zen student Dongsheng and Zen master Yunnan. Dongsheng Lianjie is the founder of the Caodong school of Zen Buddhism, which is a major Zen school that still remains today. During his practice of meditation before his enlightenment, Lianjie once went to meditate with Zen master Yunnan Tengsheng. He asked Yunnan, "Who can hear non-sentient life preaching Dharma?" Master Yunnan said, "Non-sentient life preaching Dharma, non-sentient beings hear Dharma." Li Zhang asked again, "Venerable Master, did you hear it?" Master Yunnan said, "If I had heard it, you wouldn't be able to hear me preach." Lianjie further asked, "So why didn't I hear it?" Master Yunnan immediately raised the duster. He said, "Do you hear it now?" Dongsheng replied, "No, I don't hear it." Yunnan said, "I am preaching Dharma now, and you can't hear it, let alone hearing Dharma from non-sentient life." Lianjie added, "So what are the sutras taught by the non-sentient life?" Master Yunnan said, "Don't you see that the Amitabha Sutra say that water, birds, trees, forests all recite the Buddha's name and the Buddha's Dharma?" Upon hearing this, Lianjie immediately awakened and wrote a poem. Very strange, very strange. Non-sentient life preaching Dharma, not a thought arose in me. If one opened the ears to listen, one could hardly fathom the truth. One had to see the truth with one's eyes. Let us analyze the meaning of these responses. First of all, we clearly understand that non-sentient life refers to an inanimate life devoid of emotions, such as rivers, mountains, rocks, plants, etc. In contrast, humans and other living creatures are considered to have emotions, and thus they are called sentient beings. Now the question is, why can non-sentient life preach Dharma when it is inanimate, devoid of brain and mouth? If there is a sermon, who hears it, and why don't we hear it? This was Lianjie's skillful phrased question when he consulted with Master Yunnan on the issue. He did not initially say that he did not hear it and did not believe that non-sentient life could preach Dharma. Instead, he asked, "Who can hear non-sentient life preaching Dharma?" Master Yunnan answered immediately, "Non-sentient life preaches Dharma. Non-sentient beings hear Dharma." The answer was forceful, like thunder. If the listener was spiritually gifted, he would immediately experience a direct awakening. We have to understand that the two words non-sentient life refers to two different meanings. The second concept of non-sentient beings implies a person who is blessed with a pure mind, devoid of worldly emotions and feelings, and concurrently who can hear Dhamma. The reason is that non-sentient life does not preach with spoken words. It just silently and quietly expresses objective truths such as impermanence, dependent origination, change, emptiness, illusion of existence, and still suchness. So we also have to be non-sentient, which means being devoid of worldly emotions in order to grasp the meaning of these silent sermons. But Lianjie did not understand this concept since he believed that the sermon from non-sentient life was heard by the same non-sentient life. So he asked, "Venerable Master, did you hear it?" Master Yunnan replied, "If I had heard it, you wouldn't be able to hear me preach. Here, I is the self. If I clung to the idea that I heard it, then I have not attained realization of the truth, and therefore I won't be able to preach Dharma to you. This sentence could also be interpreted differently, as I heard it, but there was no attachment to it, and therefore I was able to preach Dharma to you. Lanjie asked again, so why didn't I hear it? At this point, we knew that Lianjie still didn't comprehend the meaning of non-sentient life preaching Dharma. Zen Master Yunnan immediately changed tactic. He raised the duster and said nothing. The duster resembled a feather stick that was used to brush dust off the furniture. In the old days, Zen masters often adopted many unexpected gestures, like Master Yumen, who often held up a stick while staying speechless. Master Huanpo would suddenly beat his student, Linji, 3 times with a stick while Linji knelt down and asked his master a question. In those unexpected moments, if the stunned disciple stopped thinking, the mind fell into a state of complete silence and emptiness. This is called realization, which is an immediate reckoning that one's mind is empty, and it has a clear awareness in seeing, hearing, and touching. This is seeing one's true nature in the first level of awakening that is commonly found in Chinese and Japanese Zen history. Lianjie asked again, Venerable Master, did you hear it? When Yunnan silently raised the duster, he asked, Do you hear it now? Here, Lianjie was still confused, and he replied, No, I don't hear it. If he was asked, Can you see it now? Lianjie may have answered, Yes, I see it. But that would not be appropriate to the topic of non-sentient life preaching Dharma and non-sentient beings hearing Dharma. What is interesting here is that there is a sermon without words or sound. But those who can stop the thinking mind can actually hear it. Therefore, it's not like listening to sounds from the outside world. It is listening to the understanding that comes from within. This corresponds to self-awareness, the importance of which was emphasized by our founding Zen master in our practice of meditation. At that point in the exchange, Master Yunnan skillfully made a suggestion to Lianjie, so the latter could understand that a non-sentient life's sermon was that parallels his gesture of silently raising the duster. The duster symbolizes non-sentient life, and it manifests all the eternal truths in the universe, such as impermanence, change, dependent origination, empty nature, illusory existence, and suchness. I am preaching Dharma now, and you can't hear it, let alone hearing Dharma from non-sentient life. In this story, it seemed that the patriarchs talked about 3 levels of study. The first level is to listen and hear with our ears as Dharma is preached by the Master, as in listen, think, practice. The next level is to hear the Master's Dharma through insightful seeing, Dharma that is taught through the Zen patriarch's sudden silent gestures. The final level is to listen to Dharma that is preached by non-sentient life, since worldly phenomena always reveal all truth in silence and without words. Even though Master Yunnan revealed nearly everything, Lianjie had yet to recognize them. He was still wondering, what are the sutras taught by the non-sentient life, and why don't I know it? So he made another attempt. So what are the sutras taught by non-sentient life? Now Master Yunnan has to reveal everything clearly instead of hinting subtly. Don't you see that the Abhidhamma said that the water, birds, trees, forests, all recite the Buddha's name and the Buddha's Dharma. At this point, Lianjie directly realized what non-sentient life is. But what about the preaching? The preaching did not use spoken words. So was there preaching or no preaching? There was no sound, so it couldn't be heard. Therefore, it should be seeing. The word seeing here is also special, as it is emphasized in quotation marks. Seeing. Specifically, it refers to realization and awakening. The mind's eye has opened and clearly grasps the meaning of the sentence. Non-sentient life preaching the Dharma. Non-sentient beings hearing the Dharma. We should also ponder this story as a koan for ourselves. When we could clearly hear non-sentient life preaching Dharma, we could say that we have seen Buddha Shakyamuni holding up a flower in front of the congregation of which we are a member. We are all smiling rather than only Master Mahakassapa. In turn, we no longer need to hear sentient beings preaching the Dharma. Why? Because the sound of the Dharma is now loud and reverberating everywhere. Masters Hall, the 5th of January 2021, Triệt Như.